Okay, this is 9.1 in your textbook, Chapter 9, Section 1, and we're going to look at multicellular organisms, or organisms that are made of more than one cell. And since these organisms are made of more than one cell, those cells are organized and specialized so that the organism can operate efficiently. Now, we learned in Chapter 7 that all life is made up of cells. We're going to look specifically at plants to see how cells can be organized to perform their functions well. And you might say, why plants, not humans or another kind of animal? And that's because plants are pretty incredible. And they are very important. They form the basis of all food on Earth. Now, I've added a video that you can find on D2L. It will just provide you a good overview of how plants actually do make food. Now, getting back to the organization of cells. Multicellular means made up of many cells. For a multicellular organism to operate efficiently, each cell doesn't try to do everything. Rather, cells specialize in tasks and are organized in a way to perform those tasks most efficiently. The organization of cells in a multicellular organism is as follows. So we know the basic unit of an organism is the cell. Now, cells of a similar design and function that are grouped together for a common purpose make up a tissue. And we'll look closely at plant tissue later in this presentation. Groups of tissue that work towards a common function make up an organ. In a plant, this would include roots, leaves, and stems. A group of organs working together towards a common function make up an organ system. In plants, organ systems would be the root system, which is below ground, and the shoot system, which is everything above the ground. And then finally, several organ systems working together make up the organism itself. So the different organs of plants, those are the roots, stem, and leaves. Now we know plants have many functions in order to survive. They take in light from the sun, they take in water from the ground, they create glucose through photosynthesis, they transport water and minerals throughout the plant. Now let's take a look at the main responsibilities of the plant organs that all need to get those tasks done. You have roots. The roots are responsible to bring water from the soil into the plant. The stem is responsible for transporting water up the plant and transporting glucose and other minerals down the plant. And the leaves. The leaves are responsible for photosynthesis. They also play a key role in the transport of water, but their key job is photosynthesis. So let's take a look at the leaf. As you would have seen from the video clip I posted, plants make food and oxygen through photosynthesis. Photo meaning light, synthesis meaning to put together. So the plant is basically making food with light. Photosynthesis takes place in organelles called chloroplasts that are in plant cells. Chlorophyll are green molecules in chloroplasts that absorb light energy, which, put together with water and carbon dioxide, create glucose and oxygen. So you have to know this chemical reaction of photosynthesis. 6 carbon dioxide molecules and 6 water molecules are converted by light energy that's captured by the chlorophyll and is converted into a sugar molecule, which is the glucose, and 6 oxygen molecules. So plants create the food, the glucose, and oxygen. Now, if photosynthesis creates the energy supply for the plant in the form of glucose, then cellular respiration converts the glucose into ATP, ATP being the energy that the cells can use to function. It's the opposite reaction to photosynthesis. So these are your reactants here. and these are your products on this side. It's the process by which organisms combine oxygen with glucose and convert the chemical energy in these substances into useful energy to perform whatever life-sustaining function is needed, as well as the waste products, carbon dioxide and water. And as I mentioned, the leaf is the key player in photosynthesis. Remember, the leaf is a plant organ, so it's plant tissues that are working together for a common function. Different types of leaf tissue cells have different structures and arrangements, and the structure and arrangement of the cells in the leaf are determined by the task they must perform. So as we take a look at the different types of plant tissues in a cell, keep in mind the major purpose of photosynthesis. So photosynthesis is the key here. So we'll start out with the outer area of the leaf, the epidermal cells. They're located in the top and the bottom. So we call the top the upper epidermis, we call the bottom the lower epidermis. This tissue is only one cell thick. They're mostly transparent, and that allows light to pass through to the palisade layer, which is below the epidermis and where most of the photosynthesis happens. Coating the epidermis, so on the outside of the epidermis, is the cuticle. It's a waxy layer that helps prevent water from leaving the plant. Just underneath the epidermis is the palisade layer, also called palisade mesophyll. That's where most photosynthesis occurs. So you can see that these are long cells, they're upright, and they're tightly packed together. Why? Because if photosynthesis occurs here, you want as much photosynthesis to happen as possible. Below the palisade layer is a layer called the spongy mesophyll, or just the spongy tissue cells. These are round and loosely packed with a lot of air spaces, just like a sponge, and that would be to facilitate gas exchange, so gases can move in and out. What do we mean by gas exchange? Think again to photosynthesis. The gas exchange we're talking about is carbon dioxide in to the plant, oxygen out of the plant. How does gas exchange occur with the environment? Through the stomata. Stomata are openings, mostly on the underside of the plant, where CO2 can enter and O2 can exit. The openings are controlled, or the stomata is controlled by guard cells. So there's guard cells on either side of the stomata, and that's what opens and closes those openings. Here's a picture of guard cells that are bent to form an opening, and guard cells that are closed, and that would close the opening. On the stems of woody plants, you would also see what are called lenticels. So these little kind of scratch marks are lenticels. They do the same job as stomata. They allow gas exchange coming from the stem. Finally, you have vascular tissue. Just like the human body, where our vascular tissue distributes blood throughout the body, the vascular tissue of plants distribute water, minerals, and sugar. The xylem is what transports the water. The phloem is what transports the sugar. How do I remember? Xylem starts with X, and X is next to W in the alphabet, so I think xylem transports the water. Easy way for me to remember. Phloem transports the sugar. I'd encourage you to watch this video. I've also posted it on D2L. It's short. It's under 4 minutes, and it summarizes all those major parts of the leaf. So it's a good summary to have at the end of this lesson. And for homework, for good detail on the plant tissue cells, I would read pages 320 to 324 in your textbook. Use what you read and or just this presentation to make some notes on this section. Then on D2L, I have posted 2 worksheets. They're called BLM 9.1 and BLM 9.2, and they cover photosynthesis, cellular respiration, and cell specialization in leaves. And I've posted the solutions to D2L as well.